today with AI, we can actually make it more measurable.
Right.
We can make it more intelligent.
Right.
We can make it more predictable, just like software.
Correct. So, of course, we were looking for productivity from development testing we've been talking about. But what I did realize is how much actually we can gain from the existing code that we have. And using AI there to understanding the logic itself, I was like, wow, this is great. So that was definitely my personal aha moment.
AI is actually not magic. I think it's very important for all leaders to think in this direction, right? It's a co-pilot. It's not an autonomous agent.
Correct.
Yet.
Correct.
Right?
Welcome to Phi Moments, a podcast by Quantiphi.
Hello everyone, welcome to Phi Moments, a podcast by Quantiphi, where we talk to engineering leaders in how they are shaping the AI transformation at their own companies. I'm Mohak Moondra, practice leader at Quantiphi, and with me is Nitin Mathur, AVP Data and Platform Engineering at Definity. And we are trying to answer one main question every engineering leader is dealing with. How is AI shaping developer experience? How AI is making developers more productive? And it is actually helping or not helping. But before we dive in, Nitin would love to get a little bit more background about yourself and our partnership, especially for the last 3 years.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Mohak, for having me today. It's a great topic everybody's talking about. My background has been in data, cloud, and more recently leading the AI work. Definitely, I lead the data platform, the cloud engineering, all the AI initiatives, along with other cloud platforms like ServiceNow and RPA. We've been a strategic partner for us, right from building the cloud platform together, doing the migration from Codeaira to the strategic data platform, and more recently, we did the migration of the mainframe data warehouse to the cloud platform. And then we're working together on what we call as an AI for technology, which is basically building all the capabilities, right, from requirements to deployment, on our platform.
Absolutely, it's been an amazing partnership. Nitin, one big piece, right? Every time I open LinkedIn or look at another podcast, I see CIOs and CTOs claiming 30% of their code is written with AI, 50% of their code is written with AI, right? While I understand it's important for the enterprise to market it, but if I truly understand how they're measuring it, it's not very clear to me as such, right? And AI is not just adopting tools, but actually seeing, is it creating a big impact or no? So curious to hear how Definity is thinking about adoption as well as measuring AI engineering productivity.
What a great question. This is something we talk every day. So in terms of the adoption, the way we approached the adoption was, we wanted to make sure that AI comes to you, right? Rather than you fetching out new tools and all. So approach has always been to stay native as much as possible. So let me give you a concrete example. So today we are on multi-cloud, AWS and GCP. So we look for the tools that are available. So today we are using, which is called Codeaira, but now it's integrated with Google Enterprise. So people use their own IDEs to do the development. So rather than bringing a new tool, we actually enable that tool with the AI capability. So there's no change for the developer. So that adoption becomes easier. Adoption is easy because he's already coding in that ID for his life, and that's different. So adoption is key. And then we're one of the, along with your partnership, we always have a change management. We don't want to underestimate the effort that is required for change management, even if it's a small change management. So the change management would basically making sure the proper user guides are there, the follow-up session is there, a lot of support is there. So that's definitely helps with the adoption. Now, productivity is a very key thing, because traditionally, if you look at in IT, we basically care about the scope, whether things are delivered in scope, whether things are delivered within the timelines and within the budget. So if the things are delivered within these, what we call, three-leg stool, it's great. We met everything, all the check boxes are checked. We never really measured productivity traditionally in any of the delivery projects. Now, AI is all a productivity game, specifically when it comes to the development and testing. And we don't have any traditional tools or a process defined in the industry to measure it. So it's a very pressing thing, because AI is not replacement of individuals things. I think AI is more of helping to an efficiency. So today we basically rely a little bit on subject matter experts to say, okay, if we have to do this thing without AI being in place, how would you, what's the delta difference that you will gain? That's one way to rely on, but it is challenging because it's subjective. But we're using that methodology. We're looking some other options also to understand like a cycle time. So cycle time is a concept. If you have when the thing started and when it ended, and has the cycle time been improved. So that's one another metrics that we're looking for. The other two metrics that we are specifically looking for is the adoption, that we want to make sure that every project, every initiative is actually using it. What we have also seen is, the quality of the outcome becomes better. So the quality, the error rate and all should go down because now you're using certain tools that can do a better quality of the code or better quality of your test cases. And then the documentation, which is probably not something everybody enjoys as a code developer, the quality of documentation gets better. Now, documentation is something you may not see the benefit right away, but what it helps is when you have to do the enhancements, when your operations support team has to do it, it actually gets better too. Other benefits, what we have seen in some of our legacy applications, migrations that we need to do, we can actually reverse engineer better because now we don't need human to understand the undocumented code and all. Basically, AI can help you to reverse engineer, produce documentation, or even of the legacy systems. Because in the legacy systems, there are not many people. People may have retired, and people may not be on the ground. Understanding those code that has been written is another measure of a success for us, right? And we saw that real time when we were doing the migration together. We have legacy, 25, 30 years of code being written, and then we can actually use it. So these are some of the metrics that we are using today. But there's a lot of work to be done. As you said, we wanted to see how other tools can help it, and rather, more relying on tools and things like that to measure it.
That's a very interesting perspective, right? I think one thing which caught on to me was how can you deliver in the same scope, timeline and budget, right? And if you think about the services world, right, which we day in, day out breathe, right? Historically, everything was headcount based, right? Wherein today, if I have 5 people doing a job, right, and later on if scope actually is more, then you have to put more people to do the work. But today, our industry, we are seeing the same major difference where everything which was headcount based is actually becoming outcome and output based work as such, right? So traditionally, how technology services used to deliver work, but today with AI, we can actually make it more measurable, we can make it more intelligent, we can make it more predictable, just like software. So big shift in our business as well, right? And if you think about Quantiphi, what we have done, and we have partnered with you strategically on this, right, is build Codeaira, which is our engineering productivity platform, which helps each of our engineers to use modules and agents which previously have been proven out to actually accelerate their own work, right? And these are benchmarked on certain baseline metrics so that they can make it more predictable as well, right? One big piece which you spoke about, adoption, is very similar in our world, right? But we have an interesting approach to it, right? We followed hack it, prove it, nail it, scale it. How we started was just experimenting with a few ideas, doing a few POCs, seeing is it actually helping our developers develop faster, right? That was the first step. We didn't want to measure productivity, just is AI being able to drive a change?
Correct.
Second step was actually proving it out that can I get some baseline metrics that today if I'm doing a COBOL to a SQL conversion, right? One, whether it's working. Second, if manually would have taken 25 hours, now it's taking like less than 5 hours, right? We have seen some incredible results as such, right? In the nail it phase, what we have done is we have productized these agents which have been repeatedly giving great results and making our outcomes way more predictable with our customers, right? And scale it phases today, about 3,000 engineers at Quantiphi rely on Codeaira as a platform to deliver way more quantum of work. So if you look at the number of story points per developer being delivered with Codeaira, it is incredibly high at this point in time, right? So it's no longer as a tool,
Correct.
It is actually a way an engineer operates today at Quantiphi. And thank you for being a strategic partner with us in driving this big change collectively together as well.
No, absolutely. I think you said it very well. And to the audience, I would say, hack it, nail it, and what did you say last?
Hack it, prove it, nail
Prove
it, scale it.
Yeah, and it's a journey. So if somebody is trying to implement it and measure it at the same time, you have to be patient a little bit because it's a change. It's a change for the industry. It's a change for the individual. So patience and is absolutely needed.
Nitin, curious to know how you're seeing the software engineering development lifecycle disrupt using AI. And if you can share a few set of examples which your engineers face day to day, right, and how it's helping them, that'll actually be super helpful for the audience.
Yeah, I think when we started this journey, there was some natural, thing we all know from industry and all the tools are available. Like development and testing is one area where absolutely, there's easy to adopt, easy to measure, and there's a lot of tools available. So we had a good understanding how, when we have some perceived notion about how it will shape and things like that, and actually it came true as well. So the highest adoption in the whole SDLC from requirement deployment I've seen is definitely development and testing. So there's a lot of efficiencies, which was probably as we were going in this journey, I didn't thought about it myself but it's a good surprise. Requirements, so able to capture like a requirement session. We have a requirement session, creating a requirements purely from a session, creating those requirements are actually great for us. I never thought about that we were able to do it. And as we continue in the journey, creating an automated way from requirements to your Jira tickets, to your test cases, integrating those is something where I think the future lies, and we're exploring it as well. We are looking at the AI into integrating with our operations as well when it comes to the incident management and things like that. Of course, using AI from deployment as well, where we are automating all the CI/CD pipelines using AI. So our vision continues to be from end to end. We wanted to use from requirements, to development, from testing to deployment for operations, bringing AI into this.
I think Definity is doing a lot of things, right? It's amazing. But I think one big piece in lieu of the latest MIT article is this actually paying off? What I mean by that is that today humans are developing more code with AI. Is there an ROI associated to it? Now, there are a lot of naysayers of AI as well, but curious to hear that you've done so many things. How are you thinking about in two steps of first measuring it? Second, are you actually seeing an ROI on it?
Yeah, I think these are, it's early days for us for adoption, right? So where we have seen is, yes, I think we do see a 20 to 30% productivity when it comes to development testing, right? Where I think the expectation sometimes is that, AI can do everything for me, which is not true.
It's like magic.
It's like a magic, right? So where I think in terms of the adoption and expectation also, we need to just rightly balance it. If a lot of times people call me, I can write a better code than AI, or this AI is dumb, or this is not writing the code I wanted was, I can do a better job faster. That's not what AI is for. You should think as an AI, as an assist. That's why I think Microsoft has Copilot as a branding. It's a co-pilot, not a pilot, right? So that is something we need to keep in mind, right? That we still need humans to be there. We still need humans to code it. So if the expectation is that everything can be done by AI, right? Writing a code, testing, deployment, and we just sit and relax and have a coffee, that is absolutely not the case. Also, nobody is saying that AI can do better or worse. And everything is context-based. For example, if I'm asking AI to write a service that can, transfer files from one place to another place, great. I think AI can probably do faster, cheaper for you. But if you're writing a very complex rule engine and very specific to your organization need, probably AI may not do the best job in those examples. So it's a little bit context based. So in some areas, in some projects, you may see 5% efficiency or 10% efficiency. There could be another example, another project, you may see 60% thing. So it will definitely vary. Experiences will vary apart. Things will vary. And your mindset will also be there. You have to go with an open mindset and basically look for it. So yeah, I mean, early days in terms of, back to your question, early days, but I'm definitely saying an ROI. How do we measure it is still something to be really nailed it down. But I think it's a journey. But definitely we're seeing a lot of projects using it, and as we talked before, in terms of productivity, other areas too, better quality of code, better documentation, that's going to prove, right?
I love the part you said that AI is actually not magic. I think it's very important for all leaders to think in this direction, right? It's a co-pilot. It's not an autonomous agent
Correct.
yet,
Correct.
right? No one knows what holds in the future. But I'll give you a few things, right? As you mentioned about measuring too, right? Today, just measuring and monitoring a developer doesn't solve the problem.
Right.
If you actually go to a developer, the
Right.
best way to make a developer satisfied
Right.
is actually removing friction from their entire workflow.
Right.
So it's more of a workflow transformation
Right.
than a point problem transformation.
Right.
Right. And the way we at Quantiphi, since we have adopted Codeaira for 3,000 plus
Right.
engineers, right, is it's got a quantitative aspect, it's
Right.
got a qualitative aspect in a major way as well.
Right.
Right. When quantitative metrics you mentioned, cycle time, deployment frequency,
Correct.
pull requests, diffs, time it takes to do diffs, so on and so forth, right?
Right.
That's one part of just looking at KPIs.
Correct.
But the bigger part is, am I actually going and talking to developers, surveying them, continuous feedback loop, figuring out what's working, what's not working, right?
Right.
And focusing on areas which are actually working, and rest of the elements in the workflow, you actually keep it the same.
Correct.
That's how you will actually drive the change management in the engineering organization.
Exactly.
Else
exactly.
it's going to be like one leader says it's a magic.
Right.
Now you try to deliver a magic and then one can really fail in the end.
Correct.
If you don't follow a workflow based approach as compared to how people are thinking of solving point problems.
Right. Right. And just to draw from my own personal experiences, like for example, I've been driving a Tesla for 5 years now, right? I mean, the Tesla doesn't mean that the drive is replaced, right? But if I'm driving for 5 hours, yeah, it helps me to drive. I can relax a little bit, don't have to pay attention, but it's not a replacement, right? So, and the technology has been there for years and years, right? Still, we need a human to drive today, right? Would you sit in a plane which has no pilot and is versus, the air journey today is with the, we all know AI is driving and taking off, landing, everything. But would somebody sit in a plane without a pilot?
Yeah, the same analogy that
Exactly.
psychological mindset
Exactly.
has to be of co-pilot and assistive mechanism as opposed to an autonomous mechanism. But we'll see what the future holds.
Exactly. Thank you.
Nitin, you're at the forefront of this change at Definity of engineering productivity using AI, right? I'm sure you went through a bunch of challenges. How can you help other leaders think about the top 2-3 challenges you faced and how did you mitigate them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think one is around tooling itself. Like as I said before, there's too many tools available in the market. Every tool has an AI today, right? Making sure that you pick up the right enterprise tool is your first step, right? Use what people are using today as much as possible. So stay native is my mantra, and I always in the mantra, don't clutter your tool sets, right? And you get a lot of pressures from different teams, you get a lot of pressure from different vendors you work with, a lot of tools in the market. But sticking to the native tools is always the first thing you should really focus on. Of course, I always say if there are tools limitations and things like that, then you look for other opportunities too, right? And then I think within the tool set also, we got another challenge. So there's certain, we're basically using a native tool where some of the legacy applications or legacy or niche programming language was not supported. So you run into those situations. So of course the market goes for where Python and all these are more adaptable language. So that's you run into. Second, also as we talked earlier, you're not looking for 100% perfection. So people expect magic, as we talked about it. So it's training about everybody in the organization. You're not looking for a magic here. You're looking for a support, as we talked earlier in the call. So that's a constant challenge we get to do. The other thing is the change management. As much as the technology play, we have been doing things for generations in certain way, right? We evolve. But it is truly a transformational moment because we have gone to many transformations. I went to many transformation in my own life, going from a, web-based development to the database development to the cloud, and now the speed of change is phenomenal. Like what used to take like years to transform, now years have converted to months and months has converted to weeks. The product which you see today is a different product altogether in 6 months. So, and nobody has a crystal ball. So accept it. I don't know answers. People ask me, what do the future of AI or this tool look like? It's very difficult to say. I'm not, and it is evolving at a phenomenal space. That's one. So that's another challenge on its own. By the time you talk about the change itself has gone up. Also, I think the KPI. So don't bog down with first of all focus on change. As we said, change in KPIs, if you're trying to do it together, it becomes overwhelming for the organization, overwhelming for the individual, and then I think it's overwhelming for the team itself, because everybody says, "Oh, what's in it for me?" Right? Does it mean I do my job differently? What does it mean to my job? All those things are there, and these are natural questions that comes up. And let's face it. So there, I think we should be KPIs should be more focused on outcomes as opposed to focus on individuals. So focus on outcome, focus on happiness of the well-being of the development team. What value does it bring to the team, as opposed to going after individual and micromanaging it. So your KPIs and all should be really more focused on the overall organization productivity, overall productivity of the team, and not like getting into the weeds of micromanaging the individual productivities and individual deliverables.
That's a great point, and we've seen this firsthand at Quantiphi, right? Like 3,000 people, it's impossible to actually manage each one of them, right? So I think we have focused on system level and workload level transformation versus having 10 KPIs that you have to meet these KPIs of deployment frequencies, cycle times, so on and so forth, right? And it's been incredible impact on our collective projects and even on a lot of other projects as well.
Right.
We have spoken so much about challenges, impact in engineering productivity, right? But Nitin, I'm sure there will be one Phi moment or one aha moment in your journey for the last 2 to 2.5 years, right? That, hey, this innovative idea actually turned into a proper execution, which turned into an impact. So if I were to ask you, what was that one Phi moment or aha moment for you in this engineering productivity journey?
Yeah, I think great question, Mohak. So of course we were looking for productivity from development testing we've been talking about, but what I did realize that how much actually we can gain from the existing code that we have, the existing legacy code that was sitting there. And we always have challenges when you're dealing with the legacy systems, migration and things like that. We experienced it firsthand. We were doing together the Codeaira migration, right? Remember, we said, okay, Nitin, I need the SME, and I said, SME is retired. I have no idea who worked on these things. And, we were dealing with COBOL programs. We were dealing with mainframe programs. Learning about those programs and understanding those programs is just not a small feat when there's no documentation, there's no people. And using AI there to understanding the logic itself, I was like, wow, this is great. Like, one of the problems in the legacy migration is SME and not documentation, and it was great. So that was definitely my personal aha moment. And I think we were working on certain timelines, and we were able to really do it together. That was absolutely, I can remember. Second, I think on a change management, it's not about the technology. I was prepared for more, pushback, adoption, and things like that. But as we went through this journey, I think investing in the change management piece, making sure the entire organization actually start using the adoption of these tools, it's great because today everybody is using it. We still have to work on how do we measure and make sure all those things. But making sure that everybody actually is using is great because people are actually excited about it. So people are excited about to be part of this journey. And then I think some tactical thing as well. So for able to build those test cases, some of the things that we work together on building the test cases using automated test cases using technology, some of the moments I remember.
I think it's like you're reading my mind. And I want to share two things, right?
Yeah.
In my journey with you specifically, there were two moments. One is a technology aha moment and one was a human aha moment. Especially when we started the mainframe journey, right?
Right.
35 years of legacy COBOL code, sparse documentation, no SMEs available.
Right.
We were looking at a nightmare of a project to finish it in time, right? Because how do you get an engineer to pass through 35 years of legacy code,
Right.
deeply, heavily operational, etc., right?
Right.
That's where we actually took that challenge of, can I use AI to look at the lineage of the entire code, understand the code, and actually convert a business processing language to a structured query language, right? That moment when I actually saw the first COBOL program successfully translate to SQL, that was a big technology aha moment for me.
Right.
That this actually works very, very deeply.
Right.
And the second moment is, I still remember, in our celebration party, I actually spoke to an engineer. That, hey, like, you didn't know COBOL, you didn't know BigQuery SQL very, very well.
Right.
How did you actually land up doing this?
Right.
And that individual engineer told me that had Codeaira not been there, I would have actually failed on the project.
Wow.
Right? So these two things have stuck with me so much that today I believe that AI can do things which were unimaginable in the past. It's still not magic.
Right.
Human involvement is very much needed.
Right.
It makes them more productive, but there's a lot of belief that it can do things which previously was not possible.
Right.
So, but yeah, great journey working with you, Nitin. Thank you so much for the partnership over the last 3 years. And kudos to Definity and the entire technology leadership team to always be at the forefront of this AI transformation change.
No, great, Mohak. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for tuning in. To learn more about how we're helping enterprises transform with AI-first solutions, subscribe to Phi Moments on your go-to podcast channels or visit quantify.com.